Oh, is this your gameplay?
Yes, this is what I have recorded.
I already have questions.
Don't talk to me.
Like, why?
Anyways, hello and welcome everyone. Now that
Do a
we've
dive kick.
literally gotten, hey, you keep down over there. I'm joined by Colin, Chris, Holden, and Super. Last but not least, Goot. Thanks for joining us. Boo, this show. Don't worry, it gets better after the second episode. What's up, Goot? What's up, Taco? We are here to, to hash it out. Video game book club. Bunch of goobers like us. We've started. This music is in my ears. How do I turn it down?
Where else is it gonna be?
Okay, that's better. But we've decided, you saw the wheel. We've all put in our votes for, 4 to 5 random games, classic games, easily obtainable, to spend the month, to do a full playthrough of, gather our notes, kind of get a general feel for the game. Completing the game not required, though. I imagine.
No, it is.
Wait, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, new rules. Completing the game absolutely required. And if you don't, you're kicked out of the book club, and we tear up your notes and you beat you up.
No, the thing is, you get a point for completing the game. So at the end, we tally them up, and if
whoever has the most points wins the
exactly
the prize behind door number 2.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a contest.
But now here we are at the end of the month after our selection, Shinobi 3, as you can tell from the screen, from the Sega Genesis, a game from 1993, before half of my chat room was born.
Sure.
But Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master in Japan. It was a, like I said, 1993 release for the Mega Drive or the Genesis, published by Sega. And it was Super's request. He got the lucky spin on the wheel, so we took our time.
Rigged.
It was rigged. I wasn't going to play Simon's Quest. Hell no. I fucking blew on the wheel, so it went to Shinobi.
That's funny.
What's up, Rachel?
I really hope Simon's Quest is the next game now.
Dude, I sweat every time.
So while you're introducing the game, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Who is the Ninja Master?
Joe
John
Shinobi.
Shinobi.
No, Genobi Shinobi. We've already been over this.
So, Joe Nobi Shinobi, the main character,
The main
titular
character
of the game,
yes.
is the Ninja Master.
He is both the Return and the Ninja Master.
Okay.
It's unclear where he went to return in the first place, but he has returned.
And
It's
he's
like the
back.
return of the Mac.
I just wanted to make sure we were all clear on.
Yes.
I think it's critical to the story.
Yes,
which
so-
is a big part of the game.
The main character of
Intricate
Shinobi
plot,
3, Shinobi, has returned to show his skills as the Ninja Master.
Got it.
Okay, so would anybody like to kick off the discussion to bring up their general consensus, or should we?
Let's go from left to right. So we'll have Holden go first.
Okay, hold it.
Okay. So general thoughts. I played this game about 3 weeks ago. I grew up in a household with NES, SNES, PS1. Never had anything Sega, so this is actually one of a few Sega games I've played.
Cool.
On the topic of it being a 93 release, I'm used to games of this era having a really big lack of polish, so jumping right in the game, I was really surprised with how approachable the game was. There's a lot of polish, there's a lot of subtle tutorialization. I think my first play got to like level 5 or 6 or something. There's not even that many levels in the game, but really surprised with the density of the content. Just kind of classic arcade of just always throwing like brand new content at you, which is exciting. It's really fun. Yeah, like I said, really easy to learn. I didn't use a manual, so I think I figured out basically all the mechanics except for one, which we can talk about later. but yeah, really surprised how much I like this game, and yeah, that's just kind of my general first take of on the game.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Colin, would you like to share your thoughts with the class?
Sure. Yeah. So, gonna try to emulate a little bit how Holden went over this, but I did not grow up playing a lot of games that are as hard as I found this one to be. So I may have a little bit of like a skill issue going on, which we'll really get into later. I liked a lot of this game, but I think overall, the longer I played it, the more I wanted it to be over.
That's fair.
And I mean that like kindly, right? I'm not trying to shit on it or anything. Like I really enjoyed the music. I thought all the tracks were fucking great. I thought the graphics and the color palette were super cool. The overall aesthetic was really fun. The story is hella goofy, as we discussed already, and that's fine for an arcade style game like this. And I just like a preface, because we were moving, I didn't have as much time to do a lot of like digesting and watching what I recorded of myself playing. But generally speaking, I found that when it came to actually like the nuts and bolts of the game, mechanically, it was frustrating, especially toward the end of the game. Which is fine. There's plenty of frustrating games out there. And I was relieved when it was over, because I was toward the end no longer really enjoying myself playing it. But we got there, and it was neat to experience it, because I had only ever played like the Game Gear Shinobi games, and I think those were much easier. So anyway, kind of rambling. That's my overall thoughts. I'm glad I played it.
Nice.
Yeah, well, definitely. I appreciate the I guess matter of factness of just kind of putting it out there as like, good game, but like as it went on, maybe overstayed its welcome, or like kind of lost sight of like what made it good, like, or better. I'm not gonna say good, like it got bad at the end, but yeah, like how some games tend to definitely have that factor where they're great games, but it's like maybe a little bit less, like would have kind of helped savor the sweetness, if you will.
Right.
But yeah, so I had played this game before, and it was a long time ago, like back when I like just wanted to emulate a bunch of games. And to echo similar sentiment, I was more like, I had a Genesis growing up, but I just played Sonic and Road Rash, and really didn't play like any other games because I was too busy, playing dope Super Nintendo games. So it's always good to
superior console.
yeah, it's true. That we'll save that for another episode where we just play the whole library. But it's always good to revisit Genesis games, because like as I go back and play Genesis games, like there's some dope ass Genesis games, and I would definitely say like this game, like right off the bat, like that intro, like before you even hit start, it has this like crazy wall of text. Like you play as a ninja, like he cuts through the screen, and you haven't even started playing it yet. So I was like, I'm sold. Mm-hmm. And then the arcadey feel of like how the stages are designed, like everything's so different. Like you really don't know what's gonna happen next, and like how one section has the horse, and then you're on a surfboard. Like they break it up pretty well. So I like the way they mixed it up, and the gameplay is it's not too complicated. Like Holden was saying, it's nice and simple that you really get a feel for it, and like you feel like you're not a master of everything, but like what the game's given you, and pretty much how to approach it, and it stays pretty consistent throughout that, even though it does suffer at sometimes expecting a bit much of you, like with those said systems. But overall, definitely it was an enjoyable play, but I feel like the difficulty was really inconsistent. That's like my main complaint.
Totally.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so my turn.
Yes.
So I'd played this game once before. Like the rest of people here, I was not a Genesis kid, though I did have a Genesis, or didn't have I had access to a Genesis sometimes, but I was not I did not have one myself. My first experience with this game was the 3DS port. I can't remember who actually developed it, but it was like the 3D Classics version, which it's basically the exact same game, but it has added parallax 3D effects. It actually looks really good. It's I don't know. It's a good port. Anyway, so yeah, I'd played this game once before, and to me, I already knew that I really, really enjoyed this game. To me, this is like the quintessential Genesis game. It's kind of, yeah, when I think of Genesis, I think of this game. I think of the music. I think of the speed, especially that first level. Like Danny, you were saying, the intro, just the way it starts, and that first level, the speed of that, and the graphics and everything. Yeah.
When you say speed, what do you mean exactly?
The what?
When you say speed, what do you mean exactly?
The way he runs and stuff. It's just
like the kind of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the controls and like the jump kicks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Chris, like 100%. Like everything about this game screams Genesis. Like from the way it sounds, the way it moves, the way it looks. Like it is just, it's Genesis bona fide.
Yeah, it's actually funny because, so I actually played through this multiple times this month. I played, a couple different times. So I have a bunch of notes here, but they're all from like 3 weeks ago, and they're all bullet points of nonsense. I guess I agree with what you were saying, Danny, where there's like a flow that I really appreciate, and it's interesting, Colin, that you were saying you kind of wanted it to be over, because one of this game's biggest strengths, I think, is the pacing. How it's extremely fast. It's like an hour to play through it, and every level is extremely different, and you're going from like riding on horseback to the different elevator levels and stuff like that.
Sorry, just on that topic, I feel like
continue.
I feel like I must have been playing incorrectly, because I had the complete opposite experience where, like, and I know we're still doing the intros, right? I'm not trying to dive in, but like,
that's fine.
I felt like I was just moving forward, and then like every 2 seconds, or if not shorter than that, I was like holding down and like getting ready to throw a shuriken at some random thing that might come flying across the screen. There was like the run mechanic, and I never really felt like I could use it without feeling like reckless, or there was like a lot with the movement that I wanted to do, but I felt like I was punished almost all the time for trying to do it.
Interesting.
So maybe I just suck. I don't know.
Maybe
Skidless, you get the gift.
Yeah,
it's definitely a game where the more you play it, I'm finding, like, because I replayed it yesterday and today as well, so it would have been my third playthrough this month, and I'm finding the more I play it, the more the movement feels just incredible, and that's kind of the key thing about this game for me, is just that movement. Like I said when I was talking about the speed, it's like that, the way you keep moving, and it's just really enjoyable start to finish, I think. So yeah, going into this, I had held it in high regard, but coming out of it, I wasn't sure, how it would hold up. This is actually my first time playing it on an actual Genesis, which is pretty exciting for me, because I'm all about original hardware and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
It's an absolutely gorgeous game, because that's one of the main things about this game, is just the sound and music are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
Controls are incredible, music is incredible, graphics are beautiful. It is a very, very good game. That's my thoughts, generally.
Cool. All right. Well, this is my first time ever playing this game. I'd heard about it many times. I'd seen footage of it. I think I even back in the day played through like the first level, but like I never actually really played it. And I'd always been curious about it because it looks sick, right? What's that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you play the other two?
No, I have not. I know the first one's an arcade title. I know that. Because when I was a little kid, it's a little off topic, I guess, there was a laundromat we used to go to, and they had a Shinobi arcade machine. And I remember very, very clearly the close-up ninja face on the title screen. And when I was a kid, I was like, ugh! I'd look away. Like, it made me uncomfortable. It was too close. But anyways, Yeah, I'm a big fan of this genre. Like, huge fan. This is like my favorite games. Are mostly like this action platformers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been curious about this game for a long time, and it was good for the most part, but it had a few, I wouldn't say fatal flaws, but things that really hurt it like pretty badly.
Yeah, I definitely.
And
echo
nobody
that.
has mentioned this yet. I don't know if I'm a big wuss for saying this, but I think this game needs unlimited continues. I really, really do.
Yep.
I do not see the point in having limited continues unless you're pumping quarters into a machine, right? So I think if this game had unlimited continues, it honestly would have been like a completely different experience. Because there's some parts in this game where you die, and it, once again, I don't know if I'm being a huge wuss, it just doesn't feel fair. Like, straight up don't feel fair.
Oh, the last level
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the
So
last
this-
level is gonna come up a lot in our gameplay discussion.
There's several levels that I felt were like that, but oh, excuse me. Hold on, let me sip a beverage real quick. Stand by. Anyways, this game was pretty well designed in terms of pacing and teaching the player how to use the mechanics in play. But there were a lot of parts that I felt just went on a little bit too long. Like, it's like, okay, you could have ended maybe 4 or 5 screens ago.
Mhm.
Like, you made your point. We get it. This mechanic is fun, or this whatever is fun. But like, okay, it's over now. We can move on. I enjoyed the game. The more I played it, as you guys brought up, like the more I played through it 3 times. And the more I played it and the more I repeated the levels, like it felt like Chris said, this like you're just running and dive kicking and fucking doing this little running sword move, and like it just feels like it flows really well. Like at a certain point, you feel like a real ninja almost.
Yeah.
And, like it's really cool the way that works. But at first, when I first started playing the game, I'm like, wow, this game controls like shit. Like, what
Yeah.
the fl-
Yeah.
Like, because you can't the walk. Why does the walk exist? Anyways, like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be in the game. The walk should not be in the game.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you could run till like 30 minutes of playing. I was like,
Oh,
whoa, this is cool.
God.
Yeah, same here. I feel like I just
felt
need
Shinobi
to.
1 and 2. Shinobi 1 and 2, you can't run.
I feel like I just need to
No.
replay this game. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, maybe kind of a post.
Dude, you didn't
Like
know
a
that?
second
Oh my
playthrough.
It's a
No,
super-
I just naturally double tap forward, and I was like, "Oh, cool, let's go."
Yeah,
Like,
same. That's like
immediately-
I always want to be going fast. I'm mashing.
Yeah.
I think that control feels really intuitive. Sorry, I don't know if you were done your general thoughts, Super, or we can kind of.
Well, yeah, just basically the game it could be something so much better than it is, but it's already something great. Like, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a classic that if you care about video games and a little more than like a Madden Call of Duty player, that you should play this. It's history.
Yeah, it's definitely a
And-
classic.
Yeah, this is a must play if you truly appreciate the art of game design and just playing games in general.
Oh, totally.
For sure.
Yeah, they could have cut back, shown a little more restraint on certain parts, but overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'll probably play it again at some point in the future. To be honest.
Same. So I think it's interesting that I guess everyone here kind of mentioned the difficulty of the game in general.
Hmm.
I am definitely not a pro gamer. I am generally quite bad at games, I would say. But I actually one of the things about this game is I think it's too easy because how many of you guys use the ninjutsu magic?
Oh, yeah, that
That's for dumb-
trivializes
Yeah, it
They're
trivializes
dumb
everything.
babies, dude.
Yeah.
Dumb babies.
So, yeah,
It
so I
was-
was gonna say this probably you guys probably look at it like summoning in Dark Souls or something, right?
No, I
No, it
used
was-
it as much as possible.
No, I
It
got
was-
the flame kunai and let
Yeah.
that thing rip. And,
Exactly what Holden's
Yeah.
saying. I usually got to like the boss, and if I had the power, I just let it rip right off the bat and just dumped and did as much damage with the flame kunai.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
about
and
the,
that's cool. There's actual strategy there. So
Absolutely. Those powers are useful in different situations.
I didn't even know you could do that. So that's maybe that's also why I had a bad time.
Yeah, 'cause-
I highly recommend that for every game we play in this little thing we got here, we should read the manual.
Start reading the
Absolutely.
manuals.
yeah.
I feel
Yes.
like this is a good
I
segue. We
usually-
can. pretty much.
I usually don't read the manuals because I want to see like how intuitive it is to learn. But I literally didn't realize till today that there are other ninjutsus to use.
Yeah. Well,
So it's like maybe for half an hour of play, don't if you're interested in that. But yeah, we should probably read the manuals.
with the manual too, because I was actively having a bad time again, like with the game, and I went back because I know Super had posted the manual, and I went back and read it, and I was like, I had seen something online that like, oh, you can like block, right, if you hold down the attack button, and the manual doesn't talk about that. So I'm with you, Holden, and I think reading the manuals is cool, but it's interesting that was not in there at all, unless I missed it.
Yeah, I did that
No.
on accident. I
A
don't know
lot
how
of
it
old games
works.
had shit like that.
Yeah.
Hidden
Which
stuff.
is part of the package, right? When you play a game this old, skill issue.
So regarding the blocking, I also, despite having played the game before and going through an entire playthrough on the Genesis this month, I didn't realize you could block either until my second playthrough. So I think if it had like a dedicated block button instead of throwing
Yeah.
a shuriken, then I think it might have been a bit more intuitive.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, I think there are only a few situations where the block is really
Yeah, it's
vital.
not that
Ye-
impactful.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even know it existed until you guys literally just started talking about it, and I've beaten it
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. So I think on the boss in the trap house is where the block would.
Oh,
come
that
in
is
most
true.
handy, but
Is
it
that
actually
like
doesn't
the-
seem to help that much.
Sure.
Phantom dart thrower
Yes.
door.
Yeah, who comes through the
going
doors?
through ass. That was like peak bad experience for me. That boss fight, I was like, this is
Oh, I
some
love that
bullshit,
fight.
dude.
That's
If you tried doing it
hilarious.
without ninjutsu magic, that's like
Yeah,
Impossible.
and maybe that's like the
I just-
reason I had such a bad time is I wasn't using that shit because like that's just me. I don't want to
That's
use.
a-
I want to be as simple as possible with the mechanics, and so I just don't use that stuff. Not
That's
even really
a
thinking about
vital thing.
it. Yeah.
Vital
Oh,
part of
that's
the
a funny
game.
I'll
death.
be honest, like 'cause I said the game is too easy, but that's only considering the magic. Like if you
Gotcha.
because I could not beat the final boss without it, straight up. I actually tried doing a playthrough where it was on expert difficulty, which it really just lowers your health. It cuts your health in half. And I also tried it with zero shuriken. Generally, the shuriken is not an issue, like because the game throws so many at you. But if
Yeah.
you have to restart at any point, you start with zero.
Yeah.
So like if you're in mid boss fight, if you're in a boss fight and you have no shuriken, you're just fucked. I think.
Yeah.
You can probably do it if you're actually really skilled at the game, but I am not.
Same.
I feel like
Yeah.
we've pretty much did a natural segue into like our thoughts of the gameplay, and I guess controls within that. One thing, like I did not also read the manual, so I was kind of mashing and like found stuff like the shuriken throw in the air where you throw like 5 of them.
Yeah, and that's a
And-
cool surprise, right?
It is a cool surprise, but I would find it accidentally happening, and I would waste a lot of shurikens. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Fuck."
Did you
Uh,
only do that after a double jump? Like what was
Yes.
the rule for that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Double jump.
Uh,
Which, by the way, is unnecessarily
dumb.
strict.
Okay, let's
It's
get it out of the way.
strict.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
double jump. We're here.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
It feels so good.
No.
You are get out of
Once you
here.
get
No.
the timing
So-
down, it's fine. It's totally cool. But there's no reason whatsoever to have that timing. Just press jump again, man.
How
There's
much? I
no
want to know
reason.
how many frames that is.
I will say it did keep my level of engagement higher. And there was
that's-
something
That's all.
there was something enjoyable about that.
That's
I
a
will
very
say
good
when you're on the
point.
flying rock level and you die because you missed it, that's not a good feeling.
Mhm.
No, it's not. Not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I was very curious about that one level in particular because when I was attempting it at first, I was not using the double jump magic, so or not the jump higher magic, whatever you want to call it. There's
Oh.
an
Magic
official
for
name
that?
it.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so you
Oh,
actually
yeah,
have to
I-
jump double jump height, but just with regular jump, and it lasts the entire life, like it lasts the whole level.
Don't worry, Clown. I didn't know that till today either.
Yeah, that is news to me as well.
Really?
Yeah, that level is like super hard. I was wondering if anybody here had done it with just the regular double jump because it's
I
Oh,
did it
yeah,
with
I
the
did.
regular
That every
double
time.
jump.
Yeah.
it's just really hard.
Same.
I knew about the magic. I just didn't use it. The only magic I really used was the lightning and the fire.
So there's that other one that where you explode. That
Mhm.
is the most broken magic in the game for sure. Because you use
Kind of
it
cool
if
though that it consumes a life. That's really neat.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're about to die anyway, you have like 1 tick of health. You use it. It doesn't actually use up your magic, and it just takes away a life. So you do massive damage, and all you've lost is the life you were going to lose anyway, and you're at the same part in the boss fight. You know?
Right. That's
So-
also a neat strategy.
Yeah, for sure. But that's basically the reason I could beat this game is because you can use that on bosses. It's super broken.
I never used that. Chris is kind of quiet.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have him max volume, so I keep trying to volume slider him when he starts talking, but I'm gonna need to do some advanced audio mixing.
Just lean into the mic, Chris.
I could turn my mic up, but then it'll fuck it up for you if you're trying to do it in post as well.
I mean, no, I won't do it in post. Like if you wanna juice it up a little bit.
Testing, 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 testing. Is it doing anything?
No.
If,
We'll just, the audience will just have to be a little more active in listening.
And listening to
the
Chris.
show.
Yeah.
That's
Lean
all.
in.
But on the topic of the double jump and that level in particular, I would find it like, so it was like almost a Ninja Gaiden level esque. And this also goes into what Colin was saying about enemies being on the screen, or barely on the screen, is on top of that strict double jump. You would either be in the middle of the focus for the double jump to like get that precise thing, and then one of those winged guys would fly in and throw a shuriken. And it's like I can't focus on hitting that perfect jump and be throwing a shuriken or trying to dodge that guy. It made
I
that
just threw the
level...
shield up every time I needed to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like the magic was the key
Yeah.
to that level, which I did not use, and I just
Beautiful
sucked
game.
it up and just fucking. Oh, I did use the magic on the boss because the boss of that level or mini boss, if he bumps you, he can insta kill you because he can.
Are you talking about the boss of the traps falling? I turned my volume up, by the way. That
Yeah,
might be-
you're
hopefully I'm not-
okay. Maybe a little bit less.
God damn it.
I jumped.
All right, so you're talking about the boss on traps, the falling rocks level.
The Birdman.
The
So
Birdman.
that boss is actually super trivial as well if you stand on the left.
Stand
side
in
of
the
stage.
corner. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you duck, he won't hit you. He'll hit you maybe once the entire time.
Yeah, I had gotten to him like after struggling to I used up like 3 lives to get there, and I was just like already like on tilt, and I jumped late to the left side, and he bumped me, and I fell to the right side and went right in the hole, and I had to close the game. I was like, I need to breathe.
Was that your last continue?
Yeah, it was.
Ooh, boy, yeah.
I literally went through all my continues. My first time in that stage, I lost all my lives and
Oh,
continues
God.
to that stage.
Oh no.
And when I died, finally got to the boss and died like that, I had to literally roll my chair back and be like, I'm gonna take a break.
I
So
found that. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Jasper.
No, go ahead, Colin.
I've been bitching so much. You go ahead.
So that level, actually, the first time I played it, I was like, "This is fucking amazing." It reminded me of the level in Mario 3, the fast airship level, the auto scroller.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that a lot, and I
Totally.
fucking love that level. That's like one of my favorite levels in games, period. And it also kind of reminded me of playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze with Donkey Kong only, with no Kong partner hover. It was just very good precision platforming that just felt good to execute. But my problem was that it was too fucking long,
Yeah.
dude.
And when
Yeah.
the section ends and you're like, oh, it's over, and then it's a different section in it, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
finish killing all the ninjas and the flying dudes, and then it's a like crazy jumping section as the background starts to change like, right before the boss fight. And the problem with that is that level doesn't have checkpoints unless you get to the boss. So if you die right before the boss, you're right at the beginning. And it's like you said, that level has a lot of blind attacks where it's easy to get hit and just fall and die with a full energy bar.
Mm-hmm.
And you just lose all your lives and all your continues. So I get that, but as I kept playing that game, that level quickly became like one of my favorites because
Yeah.
I just fucking loved
Mhm.
jumping around on those rocks.
I'm with you.
Uh,
It's funny.
Oh, I was just
Holden,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
really quickly, the vertical parallax is really neat that you don't
Mhm.
really see too much of in games.
Agreed. Agreed.
Sure, yeah. Holden, I think you might like the 3DS version if you want like that parallax.
Oh,
Do you have a
totally.
3DS?
I
Yeah,
gotta- I
it's
gotta
also
check
like
that out.
because the resolution's like 1:1, so it's like nice and sharp. Looks really good on the 3DS. But yeah, super. I'm just looking at my notes here now. It's actually there was a point when I was playing that game. It's something about the music, that level, that the music, like it reprises the music from stage 1, which is the
Yes,
best song in the
yes.
game easily. I wrote in my notes, hell fucking yes. Game's so good. Tier 2 high.
Nice.
It's that kind of level. Yeah.
What did you guys think about the boss fight of that level in particular?
It was
Very
trivial.
easy to cheese. Yeah.
You can
trivial.
cheese it, and it makes it so you literally can't hit you.
Just
Yep.
bottom left.
Yep. Duck,
Yep, you
bottom left,
crouch
back
at
to
the
same
bottom left,
side of
and
the
then
screen.
when he stops flying around in his little ball and like starts trying to hit you with a sword, you literally just duck in the bottom left corner. He swings over your head.
Yeah. And
That's
you
it.
just dump on him. I found his intangibility to be really unengaging from
Yeah,
a gameplay
it
perspective.
does last a little long.
It does absolutely last way too long.
And very, very, very like incredibly punishing to try to, I didn't know you could just crouch in the bottom left, and mostly it just kind of be out of the way of it. I didn't know that. I was like trying to like jump around and dodge him, and I kept taking hits and falling in the hole, and I was like, I'm having a bad time.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that strategy, but like for some reason in my brain, the very first thing my brain told me to do was
Oh,
crouch
same.
in the left-hand
Yeah.
corner,
Yeah.
Same.
and it worked.
I feel like that boss fight, in theory, it's like a very tight platforming challenge, like very similar to the stage before it, where you have to jump from rock to rock and avoid his invulnerability attack. But
Mhm.
in practice, it's just super trivial, So that's why it's not super engaging. It's the worst boss in the game, I think.
That being said, pretty much all the bosses are memorable, at least for me,
Mhm.
which I find really surprising.
I think the
Yeah.
That
first
was
boss
the
is
least
kind of
one.
lame.
I thought the
Yeah, but-
robot Godzilla boss was cool.
It was
Yes,
literally
that boss
Mecha
was sick.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
It was
Literally.
literally. Yeah.
When you're talking the first boss, are you talking the guy with the swords, like not just the mini bosses in the first stage, right? The
Yeah,
guy with the
yeah.
two katanas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the strategy I was using on him every time until today was having to just like drop kick on his head when he opened up. But no, like
Right.
if you do the dashing attack swords into him, you can hit him even when he's got his swords up.
Yeah.
So you
yeah,
that
and the
speeds up the
melee
fight,
does
yeah.
the melee does more damage too.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like it was a really slow fight until I realized you can just melee him.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, I literally have a note that says, like, boss can only be hit once at a time, leads to a long fight without the power up, like the shuriken power up. But if I could hit him like that's, I guess, skill issue. Like, there was an option to be able to hit him, but it's just did not find it.
Yeah, there's like a very small spacing window where you can safely hit him with your melee.
Can we talk about the proximity, like, attack, like how it works? Like, because obviously the main weapon of the game is a ranged weapon. It's shurikens.
Right.
Yeah, I will
Like,
say I was really surprised seeing that mechanic in a game this old, that it auto switches to a physical attack up close. Of course, there are the times where you whiff because you don't have the range when you're trying to do like a
you're
close-up
trying to
kunai.
throw a shuriken and you get the proximity attack, but you're not close enough, and it.
And like that is complaint worthy, but the integration again for its age is super top notch and neat and cool. I'm a big fan of designs with like fewest buttons as possible.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed by that. It's cool.
Yeah, and you kind of had to on the Genesis because you had only 3 buttons guaranteed. But Super
Right.
you mentioned 6-button mode. Is that a thing?
Yes, you can enable it by entering a code with two controllers on the option screen, or there's a Game Genie code that just automatically enables it.
So
it has a dedicated block button, it has a dedicated melee button, and it
Oh
has
my
a
God.
shuriken button.
Okay, so I was playing today and I was literally thinking, like, man, this game needs a dedicated block button.
It's
And
a
then
totally different game playing in
Yeah.
6 buttons.
I just loaded it up on my 3DS before we were just talking here, and I realized the shuriken is mapped to R, and melee is like its own button. So it's
Wow.
I wish I could play it on.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I've got a 6-button controller, and that. Speaking of which, the game feels incredible on that D-pad, like the dash and everything, just so
Oh,
good
I
on
know.
a 6-button
I know.
controller. So
Genesis controller is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
I
I'm
agree.
gonna definitely try it with that 6-button code because being able to block it, entirely different.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a totally different experience.
I found I guess this is less the proximity, but talking about the dash, I hated that melee attack that came out of the dash. Anytime that came out, it fucked me up because I would be like trying to break open crates, and sometimes crates would have the explosive bombs in them. And if you break a crate with that dash attack, you're dead. Like it's gonna, well, not dead, but it's gonna take your power up. It's gonna hit you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I didn't even
Yep.
realize till you mentioned that, but I did the down attack on every box, like subconsciously because of
Like the
that.
kick.
Yeah,
Same. Because yes,
yeah.
I would just get nailed if I didn't.
I really
you-
enjoyed the running slash.
it's
That's-
really cool when you hit the enemy and don't take damage.
Yeah,
it feels
it's
When,
super
when
good.
you time it and space it correctly, it's just
Mhm.
like, "Whoa," like get fucked. You know, it kind of feels like hitting like the demon flip throw with Akuma. Like it's like a slow little flip, but then when it hits, it's like, oh, you're fucked up.
Yeah, if you get
Totally.
the spacing exactly right, and then you just keep moving, it's
Mhm.
one of the things that makes the game feel so amazing to play. I think.
I'm pretty sure that attack does the most damage out of any regular attack that you have in the game, besides
think so.
magic, and it definitely does the most. It does a lot of damage.
And it gives you invulnerability when you're like doing the jump or doing the attack. Yeah, I think I'm firmly on the side of nothing about the controls in this game are like once I can understand the frustration, especially with the double jump, which I did not fully understand until this month, because I remember playing it on 3DS and playing it even earlier in the month. I wasn't sure how it works. Like there was a point where I thought you actually couldn't double jump unless you were jumping at an angle, but that's not right. You just have to jump at the pinnacle jump, obviously.
Mhm.
But once you figure it out and once it sort of clicks, I think, especially today and last night, the playthroughs I was doing, it's just like once you get really used to it, the game just feels absolutely incredible.
You know what? I want to now talking about this. I want to see a speedrun of this game.
Yeah, I bet it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I bet
Because-
it moves.
It's just
These are the
running all
kind of
time, I'm
games
sure.
that are popular with runners. Games that have like movement like this.
Yeah. We're looking at on the screen right now. We're looking at on Danny's stream. We're looking at the what's the name of the body
Body weapon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like these brains. I love just drop kicking on them, all of them, like
Mhm.
bouncing off there.
It's funny you bring up the gameplay. I did not like this part because of what I just passed. But when you jump into the screens, and unless you knew, like there's a tight spot on the left, you are gonna get hit. Like
Yeah.
those
You
brains are
jump
gonna
right in
jump
the
out.
middle.
Yeah.
the
Fair
brain
share of
tubes
blind
and
jumps in the game too, but
Yeah,
it
that's
was
all
okay.
games really though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the blind jumps and Super. You talked about game design earlier, like this being a staple or a hallmark of the concepts of good game design. And it's so funny, like the last two levels, almost the entire time I was thinking about how you always told me when making Mario Maker levels, do not put in blind jumps or like blind enemy placement. Like, and it felt malicious to me, but that
Yeah.
it's just the era of game that this was. And I
Yeah.
didn't know that the prior one, at least the first one, was an arcade game, and that contextualizes it for me in such a way that I'm like, okay, well, at least this was their shit. This is what they were doing. They were making some hard ass games.
Shinobi
Well,
one is actually I don't know if you've played either of them. They're extremely different games. They're very much slower paced. Shinobi 2
Very
is-
slow.
Yeah, Shinobi 2 is particularly quite hard. I was playing both of them before replaying Shinobi 3 for
Yeah,
this.
the Shinobi one also has a little. It's like a little first-person mini game where you throw shurikens.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so I actually don't even think there are that many blind jumps in this game at all. I'm trying to think of like major blind jumps.
There's a couple you can just land in a pit or like
Yeah,
there's the one Danny
level-
pointed out, jump into an enemy.
The level where you have to shimmy along the pipes and there's like
That-
the water with
that
the
had a
barrels
lot of
floating.
unfortunate
Yeah,
pitfalls.
yeah, you could fall in that level.
You get dunked on a pipe and go flying into a pit.
That's another thing. Now that we bring that up, the fuck, this guy can't swim. It's a fucking ninja.
They
Not
used all
my
those
ninja
sprites for
master.
the crouch walk animation. They couldn't
You-
put a swim in.
You go
He
into
can
the water and he just fucking just drops like
yeah,
a stone.
it
It's
just
like,
disappears.
Uh oh.
Yeah, that
Uh-oh.
level, stage 4 with the pipes and stuff. That's always the level where I start to die. It's the hang glider guys.
That is my second least favorite level in the game.
The
Which
the
one is your least
climbing
favorite?
levels in general were definitely the dullest for me.
My least favorite level was the second part of Traps, the house, the maze.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I actually really liked that.
I
I
liked it the
fucking
first
hate-
time. I did not
God,
like
I
it on
hated that level.
subsequent visits.
I actually liked it more on subsequent visits because I knew where to go
yeah.
to
me too.
end the level.
I think the first time I played it, I was just like, oh, I made it to the end first try. And then second time, I was like, why is this looping around? This is not nice.
You had no idea it was a maze.
Yeah.
Nice.
The
One of my
part
favorite-
that really, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my favorite little details in the game is in that level where you can you can stealth by one of the groups of enemies. You can.
Oh, can you
climb
go on
along
the ceiling or
yeah,
something?
You can
Oh,
climb
Oh
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
ceiling,
yeah.
and they can't see.
Yeah,
you. That's pretty
That
cool.
is pretty neat. Yeah, I agree with that. The part in that level though, the particularly made me angry was the part where you have to jump vertically on the boxes.
Oh, that you can break.
Oh, that
Yeah.
so
I
rude,
can't
dude.
And they
tell
put
you how
enemies,
many-
too?
Yeah, dude, that come out of nowhere that you can't see, that hit you, and you can't avoid it if you don't know. But I can't tell you how many times I was jumping on those boxes, and I would see an enemy come at me, and since it's an instinct, I didn't even think. I just press attack,
Attack.
Yeah.
Yep.
throw
You
all the
donkey your
shurikens,
platforms.
and break the box.
Yeah.
You
You
like
gotta
the
go
5
all,
shuriken spread.
all the way back.
It's like
yeah.
a Kaizo level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was no. Those boxes shouldn't have been breakable. Like that, they didn't need that part. That was an unnecessary layer to that room. Like the jumping with the enemies was enough. That's enough. You can
Mhm.
stop right there. In my opinion.
No, I agree.
That's funny. Other than like that rock falling stage, my first encounter with it, like I feel like, so I guess in terms of gameplay or like difficulty, like I had 3 complaints, like double jump, like that's out of there. That boss that's actually on the screen right now, fucking sucks. I hate that boss.
It's okay with this one.
No, because you sink in the floor. So
Okay, I don't like the laser beam attack.
Okay, so you sink in the floor and it fucks up the timing on your jump, which is awful. If he throws the rocks and you move forward, it triggers the hand, which you just guaranteed get hit. If you hit him while he's rising too quick, he does the laser and you can't duck it. Like, I think it's going to happen to me right
there's
there.
definitely moments where if you attack and get the timing with him and his
Mhm.
hand incorrectly, it's just like, okay, I'm taking damage for no good reason.
Yeah, it was like everything about this fight was frustrating because you had to do the double jump to dodge the hand. You had to deal with getting sunk in the ground. There was the laser and the rocks. I just got comboed right there on the screen. And other than that, I hated that boss. I think
Visually super cool though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when he's in the background beforehand.
Yeah, the lead
Oh,
up,
yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, like that was awesome. I even actually have a note about that.
Same.
But
Yeah.
the entire last stage fucking sucks. Everything from the hanging jumps, that elevator part that's nothing but like a weird bullet hell, and then the game turning into insta-death platforming right at the very end is just like, and then you had to wait for the platforms in the back. I fucking hated the last
Wow.
stage.
That's
The last-
interesting.
The game it's so weird hearing everyone's difficulties because again, I think I just fell into having an easy strategy for stuff like the one boss where you can just stand in the corner.
Mhm.
But that last level, like I remember going in with a ton of lives, all my continues, and just nuking it on the first screen and being
Yeah.
like, okay.
I was making a fundamental fuck up in the beginning, doing that first part with the rail jumps because I forgot that you could double jump after a rail jump. So I
Right.
was literally having to time the laser beam ending and be
So
at the
bad.
very final pixel of the bar to be able to make those jumps. And I was like,
Oh my
this is
God.
fucking absurd because if you so it all started where you land on the pipe, and if you land on the pipe at the wrong spot, his arm goes off and you fall before you
Yeah.
can jump far enough.
That was really obtuse. If it could have just had something that when you're at the end of a pipe, it would keep him at the end rather
Yeah,
than just like,
that
oh,
would have
you
literally.
walked off the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that was actually my biggest complaint, worse than the double jump, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny that I'd like to actually, before I say what I'm going to say, I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks of the last level.
best stage in the game is
I
the second
agree.
half of that level.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
so good.
I agree 100%.
The
Colin?
second half with the platforms.
Yeah, where it's like inside and you have to.
Yeah, I
Yes.
didn't mind that part too bad.
That was
Mostly just
literally my
the-
favorite part of the game.
Yeah, it's like super well designed, but it's all you. What did my notes say here? Yeah, it's like super easy to read. It's like really precise platforming, but it's not. It doesn't throw bullshit at you. So it's like you can see what's coming. You just have to be,
Mhm.
and you have to know how to use all the movement in the game.
You have to recall and bring back everything the game has taught you up to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
use it
do you
all-
have
use
to
it
do
all
a
at
sprint
once.
jump at one point? Because I
Yeah.
felt like
Several,
I needed to.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Mhm.
cool in that way,
Yeah.
for sure.
Very cool.
Though it's kind of a shame it doesn't have enemies in it, which would add another.
Oh,
I
layer.
actually
God.
like the fact that it didn't have enemies.
If it had
It was
enemies,
platforming.
I think I'd have no hair right now.
It would have not been good if it had
Yeah,
enemies.
maybe that's true. I just it's more of an observation that it doesn't have enemies.
Mhm.
No, yeah, I think they really made a good decision not putting enemies there.
Yeah,
But,
that
but
boss though.
the last level, the whole last level, like it was what 4 sections. Usually the levels are just 2.
Yeah, it's thick.
That honestly, like I struggled a lot on level 6 with the rocks and the traps. That
Mhm.
was my main sticking point in that game. And when I finished the forest fire level, the one right before the last level, I think that was the one
Electric
before the-
demon.
Yeah. When I got through that level, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty straightforward, that for the most part. But I got to the last level and like I don't know what it was, man. I can't tell you, but like something just in my brain like clicked, and I fucking did it in one try. I beat the last level in one try.
Damn.
That's badass.
I did not beat the boss in one try, but
Yeah.
I got to the boss on my first try.
It's
And,
funny
like, Go ahead.
it's funny you say that because my attempt, like where I got to the final level with 11 lives and all my continues, like me and that level did not get along, and I literally got down to my last continue. Like if I lost, it was over, stage 1.
Oh,
And I
God.
finally managed to get to the boss, and I was like, oh my god, is this boss gonna be a killer? And I washed him, and I was like,
nice, dude.
and I was like, wait, the level was that hard and the boss was a
The
joke?
same thing happened to me because literally it gives you the power, and I was like, well, I'm gonna burn my ninjutsu
Yep.
and just spam them.
yeah.
What was
That,
your- What was your strategy for the boss, Danny?
Exactly what
question.
Holden said. Like, so I
Which
used
power.
the lightning because I didn't realize you could switch either.
Wow.
Which is funny because I played Shinobi 2, which I'm pretty sure has the different ninjutsus.
Yeah, all the same ones.
Yeah. So I knew in that. And when I was playing this, I was like, where's that thing that makes you blow up? And didn't think anything about it. So I literally went into that fight, like Holden said. They give you the juice. So you have the powered up shuriken. Use the magic. And like his first phase, like he just like throws shurikens. So I just like ducked under those while dumping and took like minimal hits. And then it gets a little crazier. And I just absorbed all the rest of his attacks while just dumping into him and just beat him.
How long
Yeah.
does the lightning last, or did it last for you
It's
guys?
like 5 or 6 hits.
oh, it's
Yeah.
hits. I
It's
see.
hits.
I thought it was time.
no, it's.
Yeah,
What I
none of
did
them
with
are
that
actually
boss-
timed.
Yeah.
My strategy with that boss was just to dive kick his head over and over.
Yeah,
It-
I've
it
got a
works.
little bit of a bone to pick with the dive kick in the game. Yeah, because I thought it was super cool and I wanted to use it like all the time, but I felt like 50% of the time I would use it, I would get hit by the enemy. Like we would trade in some weird
Mm.
way.
Yeah,
And-
that did happen a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I want to use this cool fucking dive kick, but I keep fucking getting hit. God damn it, you know? It's so frustrating.
Oh yeah, you know the second Silver Surfer moment where you have the actual big boss fight?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a crazy down kick combo going on him, like just boom, boom, hit, hit, hit.
It's funny,
And
if you actually look
second-
at the gameplay, I do that in this gameplay.
There it is.
That's-
Yeah,
Right
so
there on screen
second
right now.
time I come back, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna combo him, and then basically what happened to Klon happened to me. I'm like hitting him, but also getting hit. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
So that's another boss. I think it's the best boss in the game, actually.
It's
but
so cool. So
at
cool.
the same time, it's another one I just can't beat without certain ninjutsus, like the exploding one.
I really
I-
like that you see him in the background of the first stage when the first
Oh,
mini
yeah.
boss rolls up.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of my favorite details in this game is the way that the bosses show up. There's like you mentioned the body weapon guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the two guys and this mech guy show up in the back of the first stage, and then you fight all three of them. That's so badass. I love that.
That's how you can tell that this game was made with like actual passion and care and
Right.
love.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Instead of just like churn out a product and sell it. It's like this was art and like someone put their heart into it. You can
Mhm.
tell. Definitely
Yeah.
feels that way.
Speaking of art, if I may,
Mhm.
what do you guys think about the art in general?
I
Fucking
love
amazing.
Wonderful.
yeah, I loved
beautiful.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Beautiful game.
Like,
Everything about it is beautiful.
Every set piece is memorable. All the levels are memorable. You know, the colors are fantastic.
mhm.
Yeah.
The background,
It's
Very,
especially.
very vivid. You know.
It's timeless. If a game like this came out on Steam now that look this way, people would be like, wow, this game is beautiful. Like it's timeless.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's that one that came out like a year ago? It's kind of like Ninja Gaiden Shinobi, it's like robotic.
Kind of
There's
future-
quite a few of those now.
Cyber Shadow?
Cyber Shadow. Yeah, playing this, I was like, I knew Ninja Gaiden, right? But it was like, oh, there's obviously a lot of Shinobi influences in that game as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that game is like a combination of like a bunch of different ninja games, like Higane, Ninja Gaiden, and this.
Yes. So relating to graphics, this is the first game I played with the component cable on the Genesis on the CRT.
Ooh,
it's so
nice.
sharp. It's so incredible.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, and oh man, the game is absolutely gorgeous. There's like the
glad we
backgrounds
have-
on the sorry.
No, I thought you were done. Sorry, you go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say the background on the horse level for some reason that one really stuck out, like the moody
Mhm.
clouds and everything.
The overcast and like the lake and the mountains.
Yeah.
My personal favorite scene in the game was the credits, the sunset.
Oh yeah, the sunset is so nice.
Yeah, that's like 10 out of 10. That's just like fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we haven't talked about the music enough.
I feel like
It's-
we're on a conversation of like the art and everything, and like I guess the fine details. So I was just gonna add, like the game has so many nice little details that I literally had to make a section in my notes that was just about the small details. Like the first stage, the leaves fall from the tree, like the grass moves. Like this is a fucking Genesis game. Like grass
Yeah.
moving isn't gonna be like physics based, but just the fact that like the extra animation is there, like just for that. And then you get to the cave and the water drips from the stalactites. Like on the level with the gates, like the soldiers who throw the boomerangs, like the little railings have like caution lights that spin, like they're like
Yeah.
a little loop, and just like stage 5, the guys who have the mortar guns that like pop them off, if you notice, like they covered their ears after they fire the shot.
Oh
That's
yeah.
cool. That's
Like,
really cool. I didn't
there's
notice
just
that. That's
just
awesome.
so many small details that like really make the game like feel like it's a good setting, like it feels alive.
I think that also goes back to what I said earlier, that the people who made this game just they loved it. Like they loved what they were doing. And it shows. And another thing, like this game is like fast. Like you're fucking running, and they put these little details that a lot of people probably never noticed, but they still put them. And like that idea to me is like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That you
Yeah.
would take the time to put small details, even though most people aren't going to see them. But the people who do see them will really appreciate them, and I think that's what matters.
For sure.
I'm glad
There's-
we're talking about it because I didn't notice a lot of that stuff. Like you're talking about, you could see the bosses in prior stages or leading up to a boss fight of a certain stage. That's kind of the value of this for me. Is I often don't notice stuff like that just because I have a pigeon brain or whatever. I just don't see it.
Talking about the bosses, like the Mecha Godzilla boss, like right before you get up to him, like in the second screen of that like second half, you see like boxes in the back, and like half of them are like open, and they're Mecha Godzilla heads. Like you
Yeah.
don't think of
Right,
what it is
yeah.
like when you're seeing
Yeah.
it, and then you get to the
Yeah.
boss, and you're like, oh fuck,
I'm in the Mecha Godzilla hive.
no.
Yeah, it's nice to have those little things that show that they care.
Mhm.
And the fact that they care enough to do it themselves means that they care about your experience,
Mhm.
not just to sell you boxes that you have to pay to open and might get something cool or not.
Yeah, they just wanted you to play this game and be like, this game's fucking
Yeah,
sick.
they want you to play it and enjoy it in many ways.
I mean, I would open a Shinobi loot box to get like a different colored Shinobi gi.
Oh shit. Damn, emblazoned dragon kunai.
It's like all over print Gucci Shinobi.
He does the floss dance.
Oh god! All right, you know what? Let's move on.
Alright, yeah. I think it's a good time to move into like sound design and music.
Can we talk about
Yes.
the
Yes.
coolest music
sorry.
moment ever? The dojo boss second phase. The screen goes black and the leaves come from
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling, and
That is-
then it's phase 2, and the
Mhm.
music kicks in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great moment.
that was a neat moment. Very fitting for the setting too. 'Cause
Yeah,
it harkens back to like the films that were like that too.
And the
Like
boss
it-
does that little laugh effect.
Yeah.
Sound effect.
Yeah.
Like be really fucking cheeky. Like,
Yeah, I like that. To me, the actual sound was like it was nothing mind blowing, but it does its job. Like it's solid and it does its job.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't say there's anything that particularly stands out about the sound design. The
I l-
music, on the other hand, is up there with the greats.
Yep.
mhm.
It's up there, definitely up there.
Yeah. When I mentioned this game being like the quintessential Genesis game, it's like everything that's amazing about the Genesis sound chip is in this soundtrack.
Yeah, this game's not that farty. I got to give it credit. You know, it's on the Genesis, and it's not that farty.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
Genesis
got some
games are-
farts, but
oh no,
yeah.
it does. It definitely does. Every Genesis game has some parts. Like some of those bosses when they die, it's like, oh my ears. Oh. But you know,
Speaking of
overall,
when bosses die, they do that great voice sample. It's just like, no.
yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
And did everybody have notes about what their favorite like stage theme was, or
Yeah, that's one for sure.
My favorite was the surfing section.
Also very good.
I think mine was too. Man, the first play, the horse section blew me away though.
Yeah. This
It's
is
just
like
crazy.
It looks
seeing
like
that
a
in game this
painting.
old.
this
It
level
looks
like
was
a
like
Bob Ross
peak
painting.
fun. Yes.
And it actually controls decently on top of that.
Mhm.
It's
And
Yeah,
really cool.
the horse can
There's
dive
like
kick.
actually parallax in here.
The horse
right?
can dive kick. That is true.
Yeah.
Just like real life.
Oh, I
Watch
love
out.
when you just watching it right now. Actually, you can see the enemies coming from the behind. That happens in all in the jet ski levels too. I love that.
I also like the kites. Like I don't know what they're called. I don't know the story behind them, but I do know it's like a Japanese thing. Like I guess I don't know what you call it, like the folklore about the samurais or the ninjas, but it's in Sekiro as well.
I was
Mhm.
It
gonna
reminded
say
me of that.
the Sekiro ones, yeah.
It just
Yeah,
made
where
me think of
they come
Sekiro.
screaming down from the umbrellas, and blow you up. Yeah, I just think it's a really cool concept. That, like, there's these not umbrellas, kites. There's these really big kites where there's like ninjas just hanging out, watching everything. And at any moment, they could just fucking like a hawk come down and fuck you up. Pretty
Totally.
cool.
You know, it's funny before, like Chris, you were saying yesterday that you wanted to replay it, and even before this, you were like, I just was replaying it again. I was joking to Rachel earlier tonight. I was like, I don't think I would ever voluntarily play this game again because of how fucking tilted I was playing it. But
You got to try it with the magic.
yeah, I think I want to because like it's like I said in my sort of like 5-minute elevator speech about it. It's like I really enjoyed everything but like the latter half of the game's gameplay, and for all the reasons we're talking about, like the music is killer, the stages are really memorable, they're vivid, they're super cool, all this stuff. I just feel like we're talking about like the last levels, and I'm like I don't even remember the last level that well because I was just so mad. I was like I don't want to play this anymore, right? God, you know, like. So I think I need to kind of try it again, which is cool, to just through talking about this be like, oh, yeah.
I thought, because I'm typically a no save state kind of person. When I die and go back again, the things I'd learned, like for instance, second play, like, oh, I have a run this time. Like it was pretty interesting trying to be efficient and save resources and utility and all that each play. Of course, when I mastered it and I was only dying to the last level, that wasn't fun. But
Yeah, that's my experience exactly. Like, I had one playthrough where, like I was saying, I just completely shit the bed on the falling rocks because of the double jump. Got back there, focused it in, and like nothing had killed me. Like, I didn't die to anything. Had 11 lives, 2 or 3 continues, however many it gives you, and immediately just shat the bed for the rest of almost the entirety of the last stage.
yeah,
You were so close to being the ninja master.
The only part of the last stage that I didn't like was the elevator with all the turrets. That's the part that I was like, all right, come on, guys. Like, what is this? A fucking anime lady shmup? Like,
Yeah.
calm down. But to me, the final part of the last stage, I have it in my notes. It reminds me of Kaizo Super Mario World, and it also reminded me of a Mario Maker level that I personally would make. Like a lot of those jumps felt like something that I would create. Like I have Mario Maker levels with very similar shit.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
definitely see
yeah.
that.
Like those blinking red pillars that when you step on them they fall.
They
and
fall,
you
They're
have
yeah.
to
cool.
time your jump. Yeah, I fucking love those things. And I'm
I
like,
got
next
pretty
time-
mad at those the first time because I was like, oh, I have to wait longer before I jump, or else I'll hit the
Yeah.
lightning ceiling. Like,
That's
cool,
why I
dude.
liked it because you
Yeah,
had
no,
to
it
wait.
was good. I enjoyed it.
And the part where you're riding on the platforms, like between the electric walls and shit, I
Mhm.
like immediately thought of Mega Man. It reminded me of Mega Man instantly.
So
Like it
I
was,
I have a note about that. I missed the platform the first time, which made that a miserable fucking experience because
Oh
it
my
takes
God.
so long.
that's
But
fucked up.
yeah, so I actually used the magic and just ran through it.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's there. That's what it's there for. But
One of my favorite parts of the game itself, like as far as like the platforming was concerned, was you ran into this in the maze level, like in the house or whatever, but also I think in the last level too, there were like these sequence where there was like 4 or 5 hanging pillars kind of like lined up, and they all had spikes at the top, and you had to
Yeah.
like very precisely line up your double jump to
Oh, yeah.
clear and not clip,
Mhm.
right?
That was just straight
Either
up
one.
hard.
And I was like, this is fun. I'm having fun. Hell yeah, this is cool.
Fuck yeah, that shit was great.
Yep.
I think yeah, is I don't know, like I gotta get over whatever else about the game that made me so mad, because like there's so much cool shit in here,
Mhm.
Then you gotta use the magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
use the magic and maybe even try the 6-button mode. That would probably, because you had problems with the controls, right? Or is that not you? I can't remember.
It was just an overall skill issue with the controls.
I see.
Or like, did you utilize like the dive kick and the running slash and the
I-
proximity attacks?
I did, but I said this earlier kind of, but it's like I would do the dive kick, and it felt like half the time I would get hit, and I was so
Right.
averse to doing it at a certain point that I would do it when I really felt like I was going to get mileage out of it and really obvious opportunities, but
Right.
generally I probably could have used them
Yeah,
more.
there are a lot of situations where you shouldn't use it, but I think the more you use it and the more you experiment with it and the more you mess up with it, the quicker you learn the appropriate situations for it. Like you begin to recognize, oh, I definitely shouldn't do it here. Like it's
Yeah.
a bad idea.
Mhm.
But you have
Mhm.
to like continue to use it to be able to gain that recognition. It's just like an old game. It's trial and error. It's like you
Yep.
got to die a bunch of times and fuck up before you figure it out.
Yep.
Did you end up figuring out the double jump timing, Colin?
Oh, you mean like the frame window?
Yeah.
I Googled it a minute ago and didn't find anything within like 2 seconds and forgot about it. But it does feel like it's like
It's pretty slim.
Yeah. I think the problem is just like
8 frames. I don't know.
if you miss it, you can't mash
Yeah.
the button pretty much. So
Mhm.
you have to press it. Yeah.
You know what it
Well,
reminds me of is the space jump from Super Metroid.
Totally, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's easier because I can do that relatively easily.
Yeah, but if you fuck it up, it just disables itself. You can just fall
Yeah,
to the
you just
ground.
fall all the way back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the timing was. I don't think it had to be that strict. But again, the counter argument, it's like driving a fucking standard, as opposed to an automatic. Like you have a little more engagement, and you feel like when you get it right, it feels like you're really in control.
Yeah.
Also, it felt intentionally designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, it definitely was.
Like that whole stage that made me mauled was literally made for that. So it's just like,
Yeah, I guess you can look at it like it's just the execution thing, like in fighting games. Like you pull off a really crazy sick combo that's hard to execute. It fucking feels good, man.
mm-hmm.
But also, there's a reason why we don't see that timing requirement in modern games.
People would literally just
people
put the
will just
controller
quit.
down.
Yeah.
They'll just quit and then go to Twitter and whine about accessibility. Oh, okay, we won't get into that.
Oh god, God of War Ragnarok episode 2.
Moving on.
I want to point out that Danny in this clip that's playing right now has beefed the same section like
I
5 times. in a row.
legitimately never figured out how to actually do that jump, and my ghetto
Don't
way
you
of
just
doing
cling
it.
on the
You
ceiling?
can climb on the ceiling.
Fuck
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
Brian's gonna shovel up from the woodwork and call me a stone gargoyle.
Dude, don't worry about it, man. Do you remember my Celeste playthrough? Like,
We were
I-
we were actually talking about that at Collins when I was over there with Brian about how hard we made some screens.
yeah, dude. Like, there are parts in Celeste that were so simple and like, oh yeah, like just do that. It's like I was over here doing some fucking one frame, like pixel perfect shit.
Like, damn, this game's hard. Just like, no, I'm
Yeah,
just
it's like-
stupid.
Literally, just walk forward.
That room. There's a lot of rooms like that one though that you were just biffing on in the gameplay.
Thank
where,
you.
where like the game basically forces you to figure it out. I think those moments are really important for making the rest of the game feel intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Agree,
where
100%.
you should need grabbing onto the
It
ceiling.
teaches.
Or even that first sword mini boss, the first one where the attack sweeps the screen to the left and then comes back
Comes
right.
back, yeah.
They purposely put that platform over the door for you to wait for a second and figure out the timing. The
Mhm.
game has a lot of subtle,
Old
helpful moments
games,
like
a lot
that.
of old games had they taught players through physical level design and
Yeah,
enemy
there's no
placement.
words on the screen, and
Rather than a
everything
tutorial
makes sense.
or like a giant yeah, exactly. There was a video I watched. I know I've brought this up before, but it was an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto about designing 1-1 in Super Mario Brothers. And he talked about how the boxes and the pipe and what's in the boxes and the enemy placement is all very intentional. Because the first thing you see in that game is the Goomba, right? Walking towards you. And it's like, oh, it looks angry. It has a mean little face. Like, it's probably a bad guy, right? And then the first box you hit has the mushroom, right? And it looks just like the Goomba. It has the same shape. And it's moving just like a Goomba. And when you hit the box, the mushroom goes to the right and falls. But then it hits the pipe and starts coming at you. And at that point, usually you're too far to the right to walk
Yeah, you
backwards
can't
to
move
avoid it.
left anymore.
Yeah,
because it
so
was
you
on the
have to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you grow and you're like, oh shit. So that's what that does. And like there's so many subtle things like that in Mario, not just in Mario, but in old games like this.
Mm-hmm.
The ones
teach
that
you.
were done well, right? And that's
Yes,
kind
the
of why I
ones that were
said
done
in
well,
the
of course,
beginning,
of
this
course,
game
yeah.
kind of blew me away with how I was able to just jump in and know what to
The-
do for almost
The
everything.
original Mega Man X is another game that teaches players very, very well just with game design. But yeah, I agree with that point. Like it's a beautiful thing that's lost in modern design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, some of the best games still continue to do that to this day. Holden,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you, on the same topic, do you have any more examples of games or things this game in particular did for that sort of thing? Because I don't know.
I have
if there's
to read
anything
through my notes super
Sure.
quickly. I remember. Oh yeah, so the first elevator sequence, right?
Mhm.
We're all familiar with the first vertical platform going up.
Yeah.
They layer those pipes going across the screen. You can grab them, and there's really no reason for the first few, but it's like
Mhm.
a pacing thing to introduce, like,
Right. Yeah,
hey,
it
we're
teaches
gonna
you what they
have
do.
some of these that you're
Yeah,
gonna
they
need
put
to
you on like a
grab.
big open screen and those bars. And it's like, I'm
Oh, yeah.
gonna jump.
That's true.
That's another game design thing that I've picked up over the years. That when you introduce a new element for the first time, always make it in a safe environment where you won't get punished for fucking it up.
Right. So that was great to do there. I
Yeah,
think there are a lot of just subtle moments of that throughout the game, which I really respected.
agreed.
Yeah, there's never a moment where they just throw bullshit at you. That's one of the things I, like I mentioned earlier, I appreciated about the final level is you could do it on the first try because nothing was like a blind jump or anything like that. You just had to be quick with reflexes
Mhm.
Right.
and just utilize what you learned in the game already.
Actually, this is perfect timing. Talking about what Chris was talking about, how cool it is seeing these dudes in the background, and what Holden's saying about the game kind of teaching you. Like, so in the first stage, the dudes go off to the right of the screen and they show up on the right of the screen. And in this stage, there's going to be one of the dudes like that goes backwards,
Yeah,
and
he,
it's
he
like, oh
approaches from the
shit,
left, but
and
then
he
goes
comes
back
from
to
the
the left.
back. So it
Yeah.
kind of like, it's like, hey, if they come from the right, they're gonna come out on the right. But then you see a guy go backwards, and you're like, wait a minute, is he gonna come from the left? Boom, he comes from the left. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that consistency and logic is really important.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of my notes here, it just says perfect game question mark. And it's those sort of things that just everything about this game, I think, I don't know, we've discussed a lot about the issues that it has, but I don't know, I think it's still one of those games of that quality for me where it's just like, yeah, it's
My
pretty
only
much
real concrete issue with this game, everything else is forgivable and overcomable. My only real issue is the limited continues. That's it. If to me, if this game had unlimited continues, like it would just be so much better. Like what Danny said about getting to the last level and just spending all his continues and fucking having to start over. That doesn't feel good.
right.
No, it's like
I
I
don't
just
think there's
wasted my
anything
time.
good about that. Exactly. I don't think anything good comes of that. Honestly, yeah, repetition makes you better at the levels and the certain parts, but like at a certain point, it's like okay, man, like just I don't want to do this again. I've done it enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think limited continues is a thing that needs to be gone forever. Like it should just go away. It's archaic. It doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just the transition to home console games.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, of course.
And uh, on that note, pretty much all my complaints are basically like, oh yeah, this game was made in '93. You can't really
Yeah.
fault it, you know?
Right.
Well, I think
Sure,
like
sure.
this has kind of put us on like a good, I guess, topic of, I'd say, for each of us. We can probably start left to right like we did. Like, favorite thing about the game, least favorite thing about the game.
All right.
Okay.
So Holden, if you'd like to start us off.
Favorite thing other than the art, atmosphere, theming, all that's super cool,
Mhm.
but kind of an easy answer. Basically what we've already talked about with the movement immediately felt really good to me, and it's so obvious why this game has been mimicked for so many pixel art indie games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and then least favorite, really, again, just the climbing mechanics. Really, just overshooting a pipe feels like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's
really my biggest complaint, and
it's
there's not
funny
really much else for me to complain
that
about.
your least favorite thing ties into your favorite thing, and the fact that your least favorite thing is what stops you from enjoying your favorite thing. So, checks out.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Colin?
I guess that's me. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to stay away from the things I've already vocally complained about so much. I think just listening to the conversation, I'm seeing more what you're saying. Just collectively, the group is saying about like the game trusts the player to observe and learn and apply principles that more or less, like Super was saying, you see a mechanic and it may not necessarily be this way in this game, but in an ideal situation, it would be like let's have you learn this thing in a relatively safe place, and then you kind of scale up the difficulty. It's like such a great way to drive player engagement and to make the player actually feel like they're getting better at the game while they're playing the game. It's just really cool. So I think that's, in addition to art and music and all that stuff that's just objectively great, I think that's where I would go, sort of seeing some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like, I don't know, I'm just gonna have to go back to some of my controls issues that I had. Double jump, nothing crazy that we haven't already talked about for stuff I didn't like.
I'm
And
just
Danny
watching
falling
this
down
game.
that hole
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
I love that Biff.
That was me. That was me. Oops, I accidentally did a double jump when I wanted to wall kick, and then I wall kicked and missed my double jump, and oop, there I go in the drink.
Yeah, it's this level in particular, the holes. That was always fun
Soul
to do.
sucks. Soul sucks.
Its music
does
was
suck.
hella good though.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, the music was good.
I have something in my note
That's
that
cool, too.
says stage 4 cat jam.
Yeah, it's the strut music. Stage 4, the water, the jet ski level, or that's my favorite music,
Mm-hmm.
other than the first stage music, which is the song in the game, I think. Iconic.
Indeed. But I just have to say, I'm gonna almost kind of mimic Holden, but just the feel, it's kind of the general consensus of the movement. It's just like there's no like particular small thing that doesn't feel like tuned. Like even that dash attack that I hate, that because I was breaking boxes with it, like you guys were saying, when you get that spacing right and you keep your momentum and then just start throwing shurikens, like that shit's tight. Like, so when you hit that flow, like this game feels like one of the best playing like older games. And it's like, it's what games of that era like strived for. Like, does this game feel cool and good to play? Like, does it look as cool as it feels to play? And this game is like up there with, it is as cool as it looks and feels. And then for my negative, literally the difficulty curve goes from, like Chris was saying, like even if you're no gamer god, like this game's not like crazy hard to beat. But I found the fact that I could get to the last stage with 11 lives and 2 continues and then proceed to lose them all. Like, I'm not a gaming prodigy by any means, but the fact that I could do that in a second playthrough and then get to one stage and then get completely fucked by it, like clearly the difficulty just kind of, it was a major skill issue or it just like ramped the fuck up.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with the
Yeah.
difficulty scaling.
So, is it my turn, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. The main thing about this game has got to be just the controls, and of course, the way it looks, the way it sounds, aesthetically, it's a masterpiece. The other thing is that hasn't been mentioned is just the variety, the way it kind of goes from level to level. We did mention this at the start, but I think the pacing and variety, and it's a pretty short game. Like it's 8 stages or something like that.
Yeah.
Can beat it in an hour. It's just it kind of encapsulates everything that's great about 16-bit platformers. It's like short and sweet, and I think in an era where of modern games where everything is bloated, this is like everything that I love about retro games. Is just
Yeah, there's literally no padding.
yeah, absolutely, and it goes from yeah, like the horse stage and stuff like that to whatever the trap stage with the falling rocks and stuff. I don't know if there's anything particularly negative I have to say about it, because it's the
Would you give it a 10 out of 10?
that's That's a loaded question because I don't know. Ask me to start giving number ratings to things. And
Well, the thing about 10 out of 10, it means it's perfect. If you can't think of anything wrong, then
I mean, he did
Yeah,
say in his
perfect.
notes that he wrote perfect game.
Perfect game. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I remember
It's
it.
definitely,
There was
yeah,
a
definitely up
question
there.
mark at the end of
Yeah.
that.
That's true.
No, I could. Sure. Yeah.
He's gonna
I'd say 10 out of
backspace on the
10.
question mark.
Cool. Yeah, so just like everyone else said, the graphics and the music and the overall atmosphere that it creates is brilliant. It's an experience, and I think it's an experience that everyone should have if you enjoy video games. And the movement is just really what makes this game. Like when you get used to how everything works, and you start to put it all together, like the pieces all click, and you're just fucking going, dude, and just taking fulls out and just fucking making jumps and clinging and wall kicking and dive kicking, dude. It's just beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. It truly is. But
Absolutely.
my only complaint, well, no, I have two complaints,
Mm-hmm.
but one of them is kind of invalidated if the other one were to not exist. My first complaint is that a few of the levels just go on a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to be as long as they are, and it contributes to sometimes dying and having to start over when the level should have ended already. And my main complaint, I already said it a minute ago, is no unlimited continues.
Mm-hmm.
If there were unlimited continues, those parts where it goes on a little too long wouldn't hurt as much because you could just continue from the same stage. When you're out of continues, you know, you go back to the beginning, obviously, and to me, that's just totally unnecessary. Shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
completely agree.
Yeah.
The quarter munching lineage.
Exactly. But yeah, man, it's just a very good, solid action platformer with a lot of cool mechanics. It's like Higane, in a way. Except I think Higane is like this game on steroids, honestly.
It's funny you bring that up. I guess in our closing thoughts, like are we feeling like we're near our closing thoughts? I feel like we've definitely discussed.
I think so.
Mm. So
I had
I
Unless
actually
anyone
like,
else
just
has
like
something
one-
to say.
I just like one, I guess like two little things. Sorry.
Mhm.
So
No, go
it's
ahead.
funny you mentioned Hagane because I also didn't really like that game. I appreciate it. I think it's neat, but it's not a game I really want to play.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah,
It's
I
too hard
remember
for me.
Danny. Yeah, I'm with you, Chris.
It took
Danny
me
was
a
over
long
at,
time to beat it.
Danny came over to our place in Tennessee, and we were. I don't remember, like, I know you eventually, Danny, just like we're just playing Hagane and I was just watching, but I
Mhm.
feel like at first it was like, here, Colin, you play this. And I was like, this game, I don't like this game.
I hate this.
So, and then my other thing is completely unrelated, but, and I don't really know how to say this in a way that makes sense other than in my brain, but it's like, when I'm watching this gameplay here, and the way I want to move the character and interact with the controls and do the platforming,
Mm-hmm.
I wish that the like the player character, you know, you and your hitboxes and hurtboxes and all the enemies' hitboxes and hurtboxes were smaller. I wish everything was zoomed out a little bit. Just because it feels like the area on the screen where damage can happen, both offensive and defensive, can be very big. And like in the final boss fight, I didn't use any magic, so I didn't know you could be invincible.
Mm-hmm.
He does this attack where he motherfucking goes Super Saiyan,
Yes.
and he shoots like giga beams all over the place. And I guess I'm just eating shit here. Okay, you
It
know.
is a Giga Beam. Yeah.
But you know, it's where he's shooting it like at all angles across the screen, and I'm like, I was, you know, I was like, it looks like maybe there's a sweet spot I can dodge here, and no, because the hitboxes are massive, they're huge. And I'm like, I just, you know, my really exposure to ninja type games like this is literally Ninja Gaiden 1, and unless my memory is incorrect, like you are just much smaller and the enemies are much smaller.
You are
You're definitely small. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like part of me approaches these games, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be this small and I can move in this way and I can dodge at these angles, and you can't sometimes in
I
this.
think I could be wrong, but I think part of the reason that the character and enemies are so big in this game was to show off the capabilities of
Yeah.
the new hardware.
Of course, yeah, and which
Oh.
makes sense because it looks really good.
It does, yeah.
So that was it. Those were my two last, like, oh, also this.
So, do we want to try and give it like go around and give it a number out of 10?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Wait, I've got a sort of a negative now.
Okay.
Something I think is the one negative about this game is that the magic does trivialize a lot, and it
Yeah.
kind of it goes on to what Danny, what you were saying about the difficulty curve. I kind of feel like it's one of those things where if you use it, it really trivializes it, but if you don't, then it's extremely hard. Like I said, I tried on a higher difficulty with no shurikens, and I could not get past the water ski boss. And I feel like maybe that's something I consider an issue. But at the same time, it's like a game, any game where you can sort of pick your own difficulty in an intuitive way that's not just like less health or whatever, like Dark Souls and stuff like that, where you can do the summons or max out your stats or whatever. I think that's smart design. So I don't know. It's somewhere. It's like, is it smart design or is it just trivializing it? And
I think it's smart. It's smart design. Like, I mean, you're talking about Dark Souls and FromSoft games right there. And my first time through Elden Ring, and I'm not going to go into details because I know Super hasn't played it, but like, you know, I got to the end of that game in my first playthrough, and I was like, similar to this, I'm like, is this shit over yet? You know, this is really hard. And in subsequent playthroughs, like my second one, I allowed myself to use summons and some magic, and it was a much easier experience. And then by the time I got to my third one, I was like, really, I know the game, I know the bosses, and I didn't need it, and had as easy a time on my second one. So I think it's really cool when games build in mechanically engaging ways to alter, air quotes, alter the difficulty, but really just interact with the game in a different way, as opposed to just having like an easy button or an easy mode.
yeah,
Right,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Though I just think that the exploding magic is just way too powerful because I use it as a crutch.
I don't know. Like, can you call it a crutch when they give it to you to use like that? Like, it's just a mechanic that's available to you.
I suppose.
There's a theory, I forget what it's called, but it's like a game design theory where I think it's like the path of least resistance type shit, where if you give the player an overpowered thing, they're gonna use it.
They're
Yeah.
gonna gravitate
Most
towards
of
it.
the time, of course, there's always exceptions to the
Unless
rule,
you're a real
like with
gamer.
Colin. Yeah, where there are people who intentionally won't do it, but for the most part, if you put something in the game that's gonna like trivialize, it's gonna get used in that manner, in that fashion. So I think it's not really like calling it a crutch isn't really
Yeah.
entirely accurate, because like it's there for you to use, and that's what it's for.
Well, I definitely relied on it, but at the same time, I could also see myself, because this game is so, like, it's just a nice, easy playthrough, breezy relatively. I could learn how to get better at it, you know, over time, because I could see
Yeah.
myself playing this game all the time.
Absolutely, I'm definitely gonna
haven't,
play it
yeah.
more. I'm definitely gonna play it more. I feel like there's like parts of the game where like I could like, with what I know now, would be totally different.
I got to try that 6-button mode for sure.
All right, I suppose we can kind of now have our final thoughts and rating of Shinobi 3. Super, we'll start with you, and we'll work left this time. We'll mix it up a
well,
little bit.
My final thoughts. I mean, I think I pretty much covered everything with my favorite and least favorite. I'd say play it if you don't have to be a hardcore gamer, but if you are a gamer who explores a little more past, you know, mainstream shit, you should play it. Give it a shot. Out of 10, I'd give it a 7.5. If it had unlimited continues, I'd give it an 8.5.
Okay. Powerful buff.
Yeah. And it changes the experience. Like, it
Yeah.
changes the way you experience the game fundamentally. Because instead of saying, all right, that's enough, you're done, you get to continue your experience at your own pace. Like, the game doesn't decide for you that you're done fucking playing. it's there, like, you have to restart, you know. It's like you gotta just continue. Like, I'm playing the game, let's keep going. But yeah, 7.5 is what I'd give it.
Nice.
Okay, so I have a very difficult relationship with giving games ratings, because in my
You don't have
spreadsheet.
to.
No,
We're putting you on the spot.
Once upon a time, I kept a spreadsheet of every game that I beat. I still do, but at this point, I was keeping number ratings, and
That's
at one
awesome.
point, I had given this game 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
So I'll
8.5
I'll
out of
say that much.
10.
But
Okay, that's a good rating. That's solid.
yeah. But I can't even remember what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, it's an essential 16-bit platformer. Absolutely, one of the best Sega Genesis games. Like I said, it's the Sega Genesis game for me, and everyone should play it.
Cool.
And I'll give it 8.5 out of 9.5. How's that?
Okay, I like
It's
it.
a weird
that
percentage,
works.
but okay.
That works, man. It makes you think, you know.
But I like pretty much echo everybody's sentiments. Like the games are great. Like I've been streaming long enough that people have heard me gush about when a video game is a fucking just video game. Like when it wants to be played and it feels good to play, that shit's my jam. Like this game is pretty much a perfect example of a video game like that. It has its flaws. Like there are issues. Like sometimes with the controls, like the climbing, there's a few blind jumps. My main biggest gripe that I wrote down is it was something Colin mentioned very early on. Is the movement sometimes just gets stifled by the enemy placement. Like as soon as you're on a like empty screen and you're like, all right, I'm gonna start moving, I'm gonna start ninjing, like there's an enemy that was right off the screen that shot a projectile, or you were mid jump and you can't go back, and it just kind of jumbles up that kind of smooth feeling. Like perfect example of that being in stage 3. There's soldiers that will literally shoot a projectile that is hidden by the foreground that you can't dodge because you can't see. Like, and that like stuff like that was irksome just because otherwise the movement and the gameplay felt so good. And then I whined about it a whole bunch. That last stage where the difficulty just went crazy. Like, well, it's not even like the difficulty. It's just like, I guess the challenge. Like, I guess, what is that? Six of one, half dozen of the other. But it really threw me off. Like, it, again, like stifled my momentum. Like, I'm cruising through the game. I'm fucking tearing it up. And then all of a sudden, everything's an insta-death. Like, perfect jump. Well, not so perfect jump. Now, when I realized you could do the double jump instead of the pipes. But overall, like, other than like those snafus, like the game is like, it's hard to find a complaint other than those. Like, yeah, I can't nitpick it. And there's a lot of games like where the little small things like start to really screw everything up and really become detrimental to the whole like experience. But this game doesn't have those nitpicks. It just had this few flaws that if those weren't there, like I'd sit here like Chris, I'm like, what do I say wrong about this game? But I even put it in my notes. I said overall 7.5 out of 10. Would have rather played Hagane, because that's maybe not fair to this game, because Hagane is literally somebody said, like, I think it was you, Super. It's like this game like on steroids. Like, it's just crazy. Like, that game is probably an evolution of a game like this.
Yeah.
And not that Hagane is without its flaws, because that fucking final boss. Like, let's talk about that. But like, really, other than that, I feel like that game is like, damn. So unfortunately for this game, I have played and beaten Hagane, but this game is still a classic. Like, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do mine. What? Help me remember, which level is the falling rock double jump level? That
6-1.
Okay. I feel like if I was gonna, I'm like Chris. I don't like numerical ratings, because I feel like for me it's largely gonna be arbitrary. But if it was prior to 6-1, and I'm gonna try to remove myself from my own experience of it, which I'm gonna go back and redo now that I am maybe less salty, less time constraint, less I'm aware of the magic, all that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8. Just trying to be generous, because there's a lot I do like about it, and I'm really glad that Danny, you reminded me of what I said about I want to run. I want to like jump and dash and like do fucking ninja shit, and I can't because I'm getting winged by enemies all the time. Or like I feel like I'm just like a dog in an electric fence area. I want to go and run, and I don't understand why I can't. You know. So, but anyway, after at 6-1 and after that, I feel like it really starts to suffer. Although I'm trying to remember, I don't really know that I had that terrible a time with the last level after except for the house. The house sucked. Maybe that is the last level. I feel like there was this part with the pipes and the jumping that I didn't have that hard a time with. Anyway, yeah, I think that's largely it. I've already said a bunch of times all the things I don't like, but after that, it's after 6-1, it's probably more like a 6 for me.
Wow. Before Holden goes, can I say I'd like to take back my rating, my numerical rating?
Yes,
I can't be on the
you
record
may.
saying that I've given this game a number. It goes against everything I stand for.
Oh my god.
Let the record reflect that has been stricken.
It's stricken from the record.
All right.
So first off, when I randomly said in Discord, what do you guys think of a video game book club? Really pleasantly surprised. We sat down for an hour and a half and had a critical discussion of a game I hadn't even played before. So I'm really looking forward to playing other games that I haven't played and talking about them.
Absolutely.
Same.
Yes.
As far as the game goes, given its age, sitting around 7.5, 8 for me. And I don't know if that sounds critical. I mean, it's not 6 like Klon gave, but 7.5 is like still a really great game in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it genuinely wowed me at times, and it was genuinely super fun to play 90% of the time, which I can't even say about a ton of games I play nowadays. So again, really pleasant surprise, had a ton of fun, and it's a good first book talk.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to clarify one thing, just in case it wasn't clear. my 6 was only for like the end of the game. Prior to that, it was an 8.
Yeah.
So let's meet with like a 7.5 total.
Sure. That seems to be the consensus here.
Holden.
7.5. Hey man, he's keeping you in check, man. Keeping you honest.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I feel like the overall consensus is that this game is really good. Like
kicks
no
ass.
game is gonna be without its bugaboos. But as far as video games go, like this is a damn fine video game.
Yeah, I was super excited when it got picked because this is, I think, a great game to start. Like you said, you do a lot of talking about video games just being video games, you know? And this is one of the best, I think.
So 5 words or less, I say badass as fuck. 5 words or less. Let's hear it.
5 words or less. Ninja games are fucking tight.
I got my
That's
notes.
Cyber
Four and
Ninja
5
games, Giga Doinked.
Yeah, hey, all right, I like that.
It's super salty, fun ninja madness.
Nice, like it.
Sometimes he hides in mud was my favorite line in the intro.
In the very beginning.
Yeah, that's the
I
5 words to
remember.
describe this game.
That's the best. Sometimes, not all the time. It's like saying he bites. Sometimes he hides
He bites.
Good shit, good shit. Oh yeah, fuck the double jump. That's a good one. Also,
Yeah.
like, you know, we were you know, we're not full. You know, if there's anyone else who wants to
Yes,
participate.
anybody.
absolutely.
Open invite who would like to join Video Game Book Club for the
You have to be
seriously
willing to
casual
discuss
discussion.
like this, though. You know, you have to be willing to sit down for a while. and
Don't worry.
discuss it.
We don't bite.
Sometimes
do
you
we?
hide in mud.
Yeah.
Oh, are we gonna spin?
Yeah, we're gonna spin. We're gonna close it out with a spin.
The wheel.
Okay,
And
so
you have
Super,
you have to beat the games too.
I need to ask you. So I know you had Do Re Mi Fantasy, obviously Shinobi 3. Shoot, I saw another one. I already deleted it. What were your suggestions?
Let me pull up the Google Doc.
Yeah, I can't find the Google Doc. I was trying to look
I
for
pinned it
but
in games.
that's what I thought, but that's just the rules.
It's a
There's
click on
another
the tabs
page,
at the
right?
bottom.
Yeah, there's tabs.
Have you ever used an Excel spreadsheet before?
Listen, man. Oh, it's at the
Yeah.
bottom. Oh my god. I thought they were at the top. God, he's
All right, so
dumb.
my picks are Super Mario Land 2, Bucky O'Hare,
Okay.
Shinobi 3, and Do Re Mi Fantasy.
I thought it was Super Mario Land, so let me take that off.
I want to play Bucky O'Hare. Can we pick that?
Oh no. Maybe when we bring Supers
Dude,
back.
That was a
Damn.
childhood game for me.
Goot
I'll
is
be
getting-
back in. I'll be back in the throwing after this next game.
Yeah, and we'll
Hell yeah.
kick somebody else out.
Yeah.
All right. Spin the wheel. Let's make
Oh,
sure I'm
shit.
capturing this.
Oh shit!
Make the wheel full screen. Oh shit. All right, I'm gonna pause the. No, I'm gonna leave the Shinobi music on. It's fitting. All right, here's the wheel, ladies and gentlemen. What's it gonna be? God, if it's fucking Simon's Quest, I quit.
I
Dude,
don't
Dude,
see
this
it.
is
Okay.
more exciting than a CS:GO box, to be honest.
What are we gonna
Any,
get?
any bets?
Hopefully it's
Dude.
not one of mine.
It's gonna be,
Oh shit! It landed right in the middle, so it's a Holden choice.
Xanadu.
All right.
Never played it.
I've
Never played
I
it.
Never
think this
played
one's
it.
gonna kick our asses, boys. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's what we're here for.
This
This
is
is
an NES game, right?
Zelda, it's Zelda 2-esque. That's all I know.
I hate it already.
It was very Zelda 2 Metroidvania before Metroid was that popular.
Cool. Sounds fun.
Also, here's the thing.
Mhm.
When Colin said we have to beat the game, I was joking when I said
Yeah,
that.
I was joking too.
And also, if you want to use a guide, use a fucking guide. If you
Yeah, do
want to
whatever
use
you
save
want, for
states,
sure.
use save states. Play the game how you enjoy it. Period.
Yep.
And I'm saying that particularly because this game got picked.
Oh,
Because I
absolutely.
think this game is gonna be cryptic as fuck, and we're all gonna get lost. Let's just put it that way.
Time
I'm
to
ready
call it the
for it.
Nintendo power.
Like that's right.
Yeah, Chris is gonna call that hotline at $69.99 a minute. All right.
cool.
Well, I feel like that's a good point to end it. We know where we're starting at for this next month. We have put Shinobi 3 behind us. It was a good discussion. Everybody in the chat, Goot, Oniken, Colin. Thanks for
You
that. Me, Holden, you, and the viewers at home. Dial in. Schlotz was there. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. I'm
Taco.
hella looking forward. Taco, Googleg, you know he's creeping around. Chris, I am absolutely looking forward to the next discussion. I'm actually looking forward to playing the game too, because I liked playing a game being super critical and like paying attention and making notes.
This game's gonna make some of us angry, I think.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Have you played it before, Holden?
I played a little. I've mostly watched it. I always meant to play it.
So yeah, I think this went very well for like a first time thing where we're basically just fucking winging it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anytime I was asked to say something, sometimes I got stuck and I couldn't think of anything to say, and that was
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
but
Not a problem.
You can
Not a
also
big
like
deal.
pause and be like, hang on, let me think.
You know what you could do is you could have a drink with you, and anytime you get stuck, just sip loudly.
all right, I'll keep that in mind.
Good life hack.
I gotta say, I'm appreciative that nobody like shut down or got defensive or anything when I was like, "Fucking Shinobi sucks."
Of course not.
ready to start, I came
know,
out of the
that's-
gates.
Oh,
Swinging
Yeah,
Shinobi.
you're
I know
good,
I
you're
wasn't
good.
like that, but you know,
No, that's what this is about. Like, obviously, some of us are not gonna like these games.
Yeah, and a lot of us had like almost complete opposite takes on certain parts. Like Danny fucking hated the last level.
Oh my
Literally
god.
my favorite level.
Yeah, same.
But like, I think everyone came into this with the mindset of like, we're just here to critically discuss it, and it's just like, it's just a breakdown of discussion and sharing our ideas and thoughts. It's not like fuck you, this game's sick. Like it's like a mid 2000s forum flame war.
Yeah.
You know, this is
Yeah.
this
Totally.
is. It was civil. It was good. It was good.
That's
I'm
why we have the
looking
squirrel
forward.
there. The squirrel is the only one who gets to act like that.
That's right. The squirrel is actually there to keep us all.
Yeah,
in
to
line.
keep us mindful that we are not going to act like
Yeah,
that.
you don't want to look like that guy.
Yeah.
All right, well, gentlemen, this was a romp. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to playing the next game. I'm looking forward to the next discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else in that chat room for the next episode of what we're calling Seriously Casual. Super, Chris, Holden, Colin, thanks for joining me.
Oh
Thanks
yeah.
for having us, man.
My pleasure.
I want to see some new faces next time.
Ooh,
Your
make
face.
it spicy.
your
Oh,
face.
shit. All right,
shit,
I'll
guys.
catch you guys later.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
So yeah.
See ya. Again, everybody in the chat room, Taco, Goot, Oniken, everybody watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we had a lot of fun, but want it to be a lot of fun for everybody at home as well. No, Holden, it is not RE4 time. I just got some shocking news. No, I'm just kidding. But I got a lead I got to follow up on after the stream. And it's a short stream, so I'll be back tomorrow for the start of my professional Resident Evil 4 remake run, where I'm gonna pick a really dumb fucking costume, and it's gonna be super tight. But until then, Taco's gonna be streaming at Crab Champions in Discord voice. He's doing a Discord stream. All right, I'll catch everybody later. Thanks for hanging out.